Welcome to the explainer. The school bus pre-trip inspection. It's more than just a list of things to check. It's pretty much the gatekeeper to your CDL. If you get it right, you pass. But if you get one specific part wrong, well, that's an instant fail. Today, we're going to make sure you get it right.
So let's just dive right into the most important question, right? Before we even get into the routine, you absolutely have to know what causes an automatic failure. Because look, some mistakes will just cost you a few points, but others, they end your test right on the spot.
And there it is, straight from the source, the commercial driver's manual itself. The language couldn't be any clearer. The air brake check isn't just another box to tick. It is the one part of the test where you have to be perfect. No room for error. Everything else might have a little wiggle room, but not this.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with why this whole inspection thing matters so much. Then we'll dive into the specifics of the school bus scan and what to check inside the vehicle. After that, we'll master that all-important brake check. And finally, we'll talk about how to actually perform for the examiner so you can walk away with a pass.
First things first, let's get our heads in the right space. This is not about just memorizing a list to pass a test. No way. This is about building the single most important habit of a professional driver, making absolutely sure your vehicle is safe before anyone, especially a child, even thinks about stepping on board. So, what's this inspection really all about? Well, it boils down to two huge things. First, it's all about safety, right? Finding a small problem before it turns into a massive breakdown, or worse, an accident. And second, it's a non-negotiable part of your job every single day. For the test, sure, but also for every single trip you'll ever take.
Okay, let's head outside the bus and start our scan. We're going to focus on the things that are unique to a school bus. The student lights, the stop arm, all those emergency exits. When you master these details, you're not just showing the examiner you're a commercial driver, you're showing them you're a school bus professional.
Now, here's a term you have to know inside and out. Tail swing. You have to be able to explain it and watch for it. See, when you make a turn in a long vehicle like a bus, the back end doesn't just follow the front wheels. It swings way out to the side. And guess who's responsible for that space? You are. And just how much swing are we talking about here? It can be up to 3 feet. Just imagine that for a second. An extra 3 feet of your bus swinging out into the lane next to you. That's more than enough to clip a car, take out a sign, or hit a person. You are managing that entire 3-foot space on every single turn. And that brings us right to your mirrors. A key part of your exterior check is making sure those flat mirrors are perfectly adjusted so you can keep an eye on that tail swing. At the same time, you're looking for any little thing that could get your bus disqualified from the test, like a weird sticker someone slapped on there, or something blocking the windshield. All right, let's climb on board. Now, a lot of these interior checks are pretty much the same for all commercial vehicles. This is where you really get to show the examiner that you have a consistent, methodical routine down pat. The absolute first thing you're going to do inside is check your emergency gear. You need to physically find your fire extinguisher, your spare fuses, and your 3 reflective triangles. And it's not enough to just see them. You got to make sure they're actually there and ready to be used if you need them. Now listen up, because this is a huge performance tip. The examiner cannot read your mind. You have to be your own narrator. You touch or point to every single item and you say out loud what you're doing. I'm checking the voltmeter. I'm looking for... You're basically giving the examiner a guided tour of the bus's safety features. Okay, deep breath. It's time for the main event, the brake check. This is, hands down, the #1 reason people fail this test. But it's not going to be for you. We're going to break this down step by step so you can do it perfectly in your sleep. I want you to burn this number into your brain. 55 psi. That is the absolute minimum safe pressure for your air brakes. During your test, you have to demonstrate that the low pressure warning light and that loud buzzer go off before the pressure drops below 55 psi. It's a non-negotiable safety line. This isn't just a random list of steps. Think of it like you're telling the story of the air brake system to the examiner. By going in this order, you're showing them you understand the whole process, how it builds pressure, that it has backups, and that its most critical safety warnings work. Now, your bus is going to have one of 2 kinds of brakes, air or hydraulic, and you have to know which test to perform because they are totally different. The air brake test is all about pressure and warning systems. The hydraulic test, that's all about making sure there are no leaks in a sealed fluid system. So if you've got hydraulic brakes, this is your 4-step dance.
You pump that pedal 3 times to build up pressure, then you press down hard and hold it for 5 seconds. What you want is a pedal that feels solid, like you're stepping on a brick. If it feels spongy or starts to sink, that's a huge red flag for a leak. So, we've covered all the technical stuff, the what you need to check. But now let's talk about the how. Because honestly, passing this test is just as much about your performance and how you present yourself as it is about what you know. And this quote from the manual says it all, doesn't it? The 2 key words are explain and demonstrate. You are the expert tour guide of this vehicle, and the examiner is grading you on how clearly you can explain what you're doing while you confidently show them how it works. You know, a great performance really just boils down to one thing. Professionalism is safety. It means you're always facing the vehicle, using 3 points of contact when you get in or out. It means you're narrating every single step, and it means you never, ever do anything that seems even a little bit unsafe. That commitment to safety, that's the real test. Which brings us to one last question. The test is over, you passed. Is your inspection done for the day? The only right answer is, of course, no. The test is a one-time thing, but the habit of inspection, that is what makes you a professional. It's what you do every day, for every trip, because that's what it takes to keep your passengers and everyone else on the road safe. And that, right there, is what being a professional driver is all about.